Okay, so I'm just going to get started and we'll wait for people to trickle in. And we're going to start with Greta's work this month. She said she wanted a little bit of critique on how to get that lighting looking a lot more dramatic. Because I know she wants Denji to be glowing, so we're going to probably do a little bit of black and white real quick in order to understand the lighting situation. Okay, so I think the values so far is that there's not enough contrast between Denji being supposedly the light source and also Makima, so I would say perhaps we're going to make Makima a little bit darker so that Denji can really pop out. Hello, Twitch didn't send you a notification. Well, let's be honest, Twitch is kind of slacking sometimes. It's all good. Even if no one shows up, I'll just do my thing. Because you guys deserve the crit. Anyway, I was just saying, we're gonna make Makima darker because right now, if you look at it black and white, you cannot see the contrast enough between Denji being supposedly the light source, or like closest to the light source, and then Makima supposedly being pushed back. So we're just going to throw on a multiply layer real quick. And already you can see Denji pops out a lot more as a light source. Yeah. For sure, the values, and then if you really you know sell the whole light source thing, we'll just erase away a little bit for the part where her hand is actually over on top of Denji, because that part of the hand would actually catch some of that light from Denji or whatever. And this finger, I want to say we will not see, unfortunately, we would actually not see any of that light, because if you're looking at it this way, so closer, the top part of the finger really wouldn't see that much of that light, especially if it's further down. Where's my phone? Let me turn on my flashlight. All right, and then let me close my window real quick so we can get the reference. Okay, so underneath here, which hand is it? This one? No. This, yes, this one. So we're gonna imagine the light source is right here. Light source is right here, so see that? You don't really catch that light. It's like a very small rim glow instead, so I would probably reduce the amount of light source and make sure you heighten up on that edge rim glow. So let's turn this off before I blind everyone. And then back to our little page. Another thing here, you seem to have like another light source up top on Makima, but in this case, I feel like this is just distracting us from the main point of focus, which is supposed to be like this area of the canvas. So I'm going to merge those, and then we're gonna do a little bit more finagling. I'm gonna make sure this top of the head is actually not that bright. Blue rim light. If we're gonna do blue rim light, then we are going to change Denji's whole vibe. We have to make him all blues, so it would make sense. Because if you just suddenly have a blue rim light and there's no source of that rim light, it kind of really reads weird. So let's darken this area up, see how that magically saved it a little bit. And then I would probably overlay. We're gonna change up his whole aesthetic. If you want blue rim light, this is gonna be how it has to go. We have to make him more blues. So then you could get these here. To be nice and toasty blue. I don't know if that's the best way to do it. Oh well. Anyway, if you want that blue rib glow, that would be how you would do it. And I feel like it might give a little contrast, but then you would lose a lot of the pinks and purples that you like on Makima, so maybe not. Okay, so we darken it up, darken up a little bit more. Don't have too many secondary light sources, okay, Greta? And then let's just do a quick sweep of shadow on top of here. You're confusing yourself. Yeah, you're confusing me too. Okay, so let's erase away for where it would catch a little bit. The upper top lip would have a shadow casted on it. And I'll just warm it up a little bit for the shadow because it's close to her lip area, so she has a lot of blood vessels near that area. I'll deal with that later. Okay, so shadow makes you really draw your eye there, and then I would just shift the composition just a tad bit. Just a tad bit. This way. It feels like you have too much on the left side, or the right side, and the left side's not getting enough love. So boop. And as much as I love to paint on separate layers, I also like to paint on all one layer, so the easiest way for me to do this, to fix up this section, is to just smack it on here. I'll just let you figure out how to do that when you edit it yourself, because I'm sure you have all the layers. But I'm glad the hand tutorial was very helpful because I'm seeing an improvement in the hands. Okay, so we filled up that space a little bit. Some other issues that I'm seeing, just compositional wise, I'm not even talking about like the general posing yet. It's that I feel like Denji, his pose does not really feel like he's scared or like he's trying to fight. He looks too static. So instead, I would suggest you perhaps tilt him up a little bit. You really like drawing feet? Don't let me soon hear you say that, or he's gonna push for more feet challenges. Okay, so we're gonna tilt him up a little bit. I think it did really well with like the second feet. I think the two value feet was looking really, really good. Like you really caught the shadows and everything. Let's just cover that baby up real quick. And so I'm just gonna have Denji kind of tilt back a little bit, so if he is scared, he feels a little bit more scared. I would probably also have his face look up, because Makima is above, so there's no reason he should be looking straight there unless he's just staring at her big old hands. But even then, I feel like her hands are just like on top. I'm always going to regret my decisions. I should have put the background on a different layer, so let's do that real quick right now. Okay, we had to cover that up. So Denji looking more scared. Maybe his head would be more turned. We wouldn't see as much of his face. In which case his head, more of that roundness of the skull. Don't make it flat. It's not like he slept on top of his skull and it's like made a sponge. I'm gonna raise the shoulders up a little bit because when you are scared, I feel like you want to tense up. So your shoulders are gonna get higher up like this. See how that he looks like a coward or like a scared little fool now? The fool that he is. And I'm almost caught up with JJK. I've been holding off on reading 236 because I've heard everyone gets really mad after that, so I'm afraid to read it. Greta, don't tell me any spoilers. I just know everyone was really, really mad. So I'm too afraid to read it. Until everyone tells me that they're not mad anymore, I don't want to read it. Post Shibuya goes downhill. Oh no, don't say that, Greta. No, not like this. I can't drop another one. It can't be like My Hero Academia. Ugh. Oh, that's gonna suck for me to read it then. Anyway, and then let us Maybe make a reconsideration on the shirt color. I feel like gray is just sapping all the colors out of your picture. Let's go maybe this purplish color. Go a little bit cooler. You can't tell me this, Greta. Now I'm gonna be so sad when I do read it. Cause I remember really enjoying My Hero Academia, and then after like a certain while, I just got so bored and so tired of reading all these like new characters that come in, and I'm just like, I don't even remember who the hell is who the hell anymore. All the character relationships got so fucked up. And then to make Denji feel a little bit more like martial artsy, we're gonna give him a rolled up shirt. Because I've never seen Denji actually keep his shirt up down like that. Give him the like busted collar. Weekly manga schedule. Honestly, I would prefer to just wait like a month for each chapter and have a decent story. But then you can break up the shape a little bit by throwing in some blood splatters, because he doesn't ever clean his shirt. I feel like he has like 2 shirts in total. Poverty. It's also laziness. He probably wouldn't have another shirt unless it was Makima who forced him to change his shirt. Especially now that Aki is no more. Okay, some ugly ass shirt right there. It's not even the best rendering ever, but whatever. Just the idea. Other general ideas, I would say the angle of her body is not quite right. I think when you get to this angle, you have to think that there's actually a lot more things overlapping at this point. So we're going to merge things down, because I don't do things right anyway. I'm gonna try to separate the hands, because I feel like the hands are kind of the main obstacles when I'm trying to mess around with stuff underneath. So maybe once the hand's gone, it'll be easier for me to edit stuff. If people on this stream have not read Chainsaw Man, I think they deserve that. Because it's so late in the game, they should have at least heard some spoilers by now. Alright, so to fix up this angle for the first episode, whoops, my bad, but anyway. Damn it, I should have, yes. Okay, so let's draw some guidelines so you see how the angle would work. Let's bust out good old Portrait Studio. It's okay, even if you got spoiled, it doesn't change the enjoyment of the journey. The journey itself is also equally good as the end result. Though I would warn you, if you don't like psychotic endings where the author decides to fuck up everything in the story, you may not like this one. Okay, let's do our extreme angle. So, shoop. Let me get rid of this stage. I don't want to see it. Shoom, shoom. Oh, it's too zoomed in. I think we are somewhere there. That angle, so scooch that baby over. She's zombieing. She's kind of zombieing. Maybe something like that. It's not perfect. Okay, so scoot, 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 scoot. Now, you're gonna see right here, the arm is very, very close to the torso, whereas your arm feels like it's missing a chunk right here. So it's super empty and it doesn't feel like the torso is actually believable. So what we have to do, even though it's kind of at an angle, imagine this is sort of like a cylinder. So when you scoot that body over just a tad bit, I'm gonna make the hips a little bit bigger. And so let's see if we can do a little bit of liquefy without us hating our lives. I'm not even using the right one. Okay, well. I feel like I made all the wrong choices when I merged everything. Okay, let's cut this baby out. Where's the hands? Hands are here. Okay. Okay, so we gotta fix some things because I made a big old mistake, like I always do. I'm sure it'll be easier for you to edit, Greta. It's just not easy for me because I don't think ahead. Okay, so I'm gonna get rid of the hand so I see what I'm working with. We're going to scoot over the chest a little bit, because Makima needs some breathing space. we're gonna tuck that shirt back in here a little bit. Maybe I would just move her hand up a little bit to feel a little bit more balanced. When there's like a little bit of symmetry, it feels a lot nicer for some reason, just the golden rule and everything. Go away. Go away. Go away, Feather. I don't need you. And I would also suggest bringing her pants up because I feel like she wears high-waisted pants, so having it so low reads more as like on her hips. Yes, of course, go ahead and go. I would just be talking a little bit more about the lighting after you go. So, see you next time. So I'm gonna get rid of all these wrinkles first so we can look at what we're doing. And I'm also getting rid of all your bounce light because I don't know why you have so much bounce light, Greta. There's no other light source. Okay. Then the hands, here we go. Cover that baby up. Alright, so we covered that up. We fixed the torso just a little bit. See how it feels a little bit more fleshed out. She has space to actually have her lungs there. And now I'm just gonna throw back in some of those wrinkles that you had. The important one is this one right here in the armpit. Just that's like the one that's in the deepest recess. Other ones you can kind of get lazy with and get away with it. So like for these ones, you can group up some of your highlights together so they don't feel so separated. Right here, let's get that round shape of the arms. Oops. Same for the shadow here. Even the collar is gonna get that subtle shadow, even though it doesn't feel like it would, because it's a flat object. But without it, it feels like something's missing and it looks too flat. And then let's throw some shadows underneath this tie because her shirt buttons probably are popping out of the seams. And I'm just gonna lighten up a little bit right here. And then let me bring back the highlight that's on the tie because I totally got rid of it. The easy way to do this would just be to apply like a whole overlay light to it, but I like painting sometimes, so deal with it. Okay, so before, after, just some subtle changes. You don't have to do any, like all of these. These are like really rough details. You would probably want to clean them up before you call it the end. Let's change the lighting real quick here. Actually, let's turn off this one. Let's do a spotlight. But where is it though? I'm gonna reduce the strength to maybe say about this much. Feels like your lighting. And there we go. Let's do some good old bounce light on the fingers real quick. So hard light. I'm gonna clip it to the hands. And the hands feel so much more alive now. I still feel like this is not bright enough for the light source that we're kind of getting. Maybe that much. It's not on the right layer though. Guess I'll just paint it like this. Alright, this is lazy rendering of the pants, so don't copy this, but get the idea. I'm sort of a little bit torn about making this brighter just because it would make it hard for us to see Denji, but the light source would probably require it to be slightly lighter, so maybe I'll just do a little bit. Maybe something like that. Throw back in her little arm shadow in here. Be careful not to make it too thick because the shirt is not that thick of a material. If you go too thick, it reads more like a jacket. Okay, then other things that we have to consider is the lighting of the face is just not dramatic enough. So we're gonna use a soft light layer maybe. You can go ahead and play around with the different layers, but we're gonna make sure we bring up the lighting just a tad bit. And this whole brow bone right here, the top one, we get that light, not just the little tiny section. Be careful not to use just a line for the highlight because this whole bottom edge of the chin is not just a line, it's like a whole surface. So let's see, let's merge that down and then get rid of this line. Instead it would be like a wider region right here. Let's fix up the jaw shape a little bit. It's too wide for this angle. So she's going to read more masculine if you push it that far out. I'm going to have her eyes curve around the face a little bit more. And I also feel like I'm guilty of this, but you have to be careful not to show too much of the eye, especially from this angle, because when you're looking down, your eyelids are actually going to follow the direction of your eyes, so you're going to look like you're half closed eyes. So less of this would be showing. I am not perfect, Jessie. Surprise, surprise. I don't even know why I bother putting things on different layers if I'm just gonna paint on all one thing. Maybe it's so I can get rid of anything I don't like, because I really don't like the color choices that I made here. And I ease up on that weird color. Yeah, we're gonna ease up on that baby. It's a white shirt, so it probably wouldn't get that dark of a shadow. There, that's that's gonna be the lighting, because I don't have time, or I don't feel like rendering it at this moment. I feel like rendering folds is a luxury to have when you are basically done with like the major stuff, like the form, lighting, composition, anatomy, and then afterwards you can go in and be like, oh hey, I want to make this look better, more neat. Switch that down. Same for the eyebrows, they're gonna wrap around the face, so don't just draw them straight. Even if you have straight eyebrows, once you're at this angle, it's gonna follow the shape of your skull, your eye socket. You can just make like the edges right here a little bit straighter, that way it feels like it's a straight eyebrow. And there's different ways to draw your nostrils. I would just be careful about drawing them too far apart. It does end up looking very scary or very pig-like if it's too far apart. So just scoot them over a little bit. Doesn't have to be too much. Oops, am I too close? I am too close. See that? Just a little bit. Oops, I don't want to give her goth eyeliner. So I'm gonna use a lighter color for the bottom lashes. Hello, welcome. We are just critiquing some of my Patreon's works for this month. So we're trying to fix up the angle of the face right here real quick so it looks a little bit better. There's none of that shit here, okay? You better watch yourself or I'm gonna ban you. Alright, let's go. Okay, we're gonna add a color to her face because goddamn she is looking pale, so. Makima right here needs a little bit of color to her chicos and her lips. Oops. Ooh, hold back. Quick solution to that is to use a multiply layer, or you can use a hard light layer depending on how the effect looks like. It's not a guarantee that it'll look perfect, so experiment a little bit. I like to use multiply because it's easier for me to control it. See that? It's just subtle. If you want to see more Makima works, follow my Patreon, my disciple who did this one. Her handle I think is Greta Moon, Resend Moon I believe is her handle. She loves doing herself some Chainsaw Man rot fan art, and we're here to help her get some of those issues sorted out in the early stages so she can just enjoy the process of drawing. Okay, let's get a little bit more structure in the face a little bit. Am I caught up on Chainsaw Man? Last chapter I read was like... I only like started the Bomb Devil chapters. I didn't get too far on it because I've been waiting for it to pile up. I'm a very binge reader kind of type of reader. What layer am I on? God damn it. Yeah, first part is like finished, so it feels finished, but then the second part is like it's still going, so I don't wanna go through the ups and downs. I'm too afraid. I'm a wimp. Oh my god, okay, that's too much. Fire punch? What's that about? What he did before Chainsaw Man? Good to know, good to know. Alright, let's zoom out a little bit, see how we did with the shadow structures. We might bring back some of the structure on the side of the face. I kind of regret doing that. And we're gonna do a little bit of rhinoplasty where we fix up that asymmetry on the nose. Sorry, Greta. I probably effed up the nose, but we really needed that lighting. I can't not have it. So if you have to go back and fix it a little bit, it be what it be. I need her to breathe, okay? Then you can take advantage and make her irises. Guy with more mortality. It's Fire Punch. Fire Punch. Very self-explanatory. I didn't know what I was expecting. Alright, and then in order for the golden of her eyes to work, we're gonna make them into pinks. Yes, because color theory, you are absolutely correct, Jessie. And then let's bust out the stare straight into your soul. Pick what color you're feeling. Equally valid, but the result isn't what you want, is the question. Like, there are perfectly good art where it's just a kaleidoscope of colors, but sometimes if you are aiming for a little bit more realism, then you do have to, I hate to say, you kind of have to know the color theory just a little bit. It does help a little bit when you're making your color choices too. So if you're feeling you want a calm or somber mood, then obviously you're going to choose more cooler colors, and that's not necessarily having you to know like what are the complementary color palettes, or whatever. Let's get that all your way around the color wheel. I mean, in a sense, isn't that still technically color theory? Because you have to somewhat understand which direction you want to go. Are you going cooler, warmer? Like, am I going cooler, warmer, right? As I'm moving up and down the scale. And then let's get rid of this bounce light, because Greta, we don't know what you're doing with the bounce light. I know you like the whole blue light thing, but it doesn't make too much sense, especially since we don't have a secondary light source. Oops. We're gonna make sure we fix up the head shape a little bit. And then if you really, where's her braid though? Is my question. Let's see if we can get it there. So we need to have at least a little bit of section of her braid showing in the back. Or else what the hell are we looking at, right? She just has really short hair. And I'm gonna make her bangs pop out just a little bit so it feels like she has volume in her hair and not like a flat mess like mine is most of the time. A villain from Chainsaw Man, Jessie? Oh boy. I don't know, that's very subjective. Some people are total simps, and if you ask me personally, I would say refer to my own Chainsaw Man fan art and you'll know how my feelings are towards Makima. Let's try to get her style back in here. I feel like I messed up the style a little bit. Let's squeeze that nose a little bit, make it a little bit more cutesy. And I feel like bigger eyes might help with the style. Oh, sure, be careful. Oh my god, that's not working for me. Okay. Why does it not want to work for me, Liquify? Did I mess it up? I feel like I can't see things right anymore. Something ain't right with his, and I'm thinking it's because it's too far out. Perhaps. Yeah. Okay, I see what's wrong. Too much of the that side's showing at that side. I know it's stylistic choice, but Greta, it's making it feel weird. So we're just gonna shrink it just a tad bit. And we're gonna keep your style. I'm gonna keep your style. Where did I copy? Say this one. Okay. I promise I can layer management. There we go. Slightly better. Scoop that baby over a little bit. Make sure it lines up with the edge of the nose. I just hate my life. I'm trying to fix this. I'm like seeing double at this point. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make the top lip less visible because your original style is more that. Oops. All right, I'm not gonna finagle with it. I'm just gonna ruin your style. We're just gonna do last minute touches. We're just gonna make sure when it comes to shadows on Denji, we're going to you could potentially do more of that bluish purple for shadow. Maybe not, because the lighting's so warm. I'm just gonna throw a color overlay on top. There you go. Okay, so maybe it's something color-wise like that, because that's how the lighting is making me feel like. And if you really feel inclined to have that blue outline or whatever you want, I don't know, maybe we could put some kind of stuff in the background to really get you that blue. Just some suggestions for the background. Don't have to follow it, obviously. Some really rough looking chains. It's all the ideas, it's about ideas, okay? I'm here to show you ideas and how to move forward, not necessarily to show you exactly how to paint, because everyone has their own style. Okay, and then maybe we can make them glowing. Let's make that a little less bright. Oh, so bright. Okay. Maybe I do have to do that bright. Okay. Then you could have your whatchamacallit, that rim light that you really love, Greta. But even then, be careful not to do too much. Okay. So. After we got our lighting, and it's really helping you feel like Makima is less of a focus. If you just wanted to bring a little bit more focus to her, then we can, you know, make her eyes glow, so then you can have a little bit of spot of focus, but main focus is over here. Okay, so let's do Jessie since you're already here. Let me delete this baby. Shoop. Ideas. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna scoot this baby down a little bit. So you have two options. Actually, okay, let me give you your two options. Your two options is right now the girl is too centered. If we lay down some grids, and here's about the middle. Oops. She's like too much in the middle, so I would either suggest you move her down or move her up and make the focus on either ones. But it seems like you like the trees background, so we're gonna scoot her down just a tad bit. Da, 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 da. And I really like this idea. The only thing is we gotta add a little bit more contrast to it. So we're gonna decide on making the girl a little bit darker, so the trees can be looking like it's like from far away. See how that brings a general silhouette value? Look at it in the thumbnail navigator right here. This right here helps you section off that area. I'm also going to make this slightly darker. And then the background feels like it's really pushed back. For now, I'm going to darken up your lake a little bit because I want to show you some opportunities for you to introduce some interesting shapes inside the water so it doesn't feel very flat. God, I swear, it's like October already, and yet it's still 90 something degrees in California. Like, the hell are they doing? Alright, so one tip when we were doing our our water tutorial. Have I tried the changing the weather? You're right, I should ask the weather. I should be like, you know, I'm not feeling it today. Let's do something else. And when you darken up the water, do you see how you have an opportunity to play with the silhouettes? Like, ooh, so cool. Let's see. We're gonna make that a little bit smaller. And just as I was saying before, if you remember from the water tutorial, objects that are darker tend to look lighter in the water and vice versa. It's not like a steadfast rule, but it helps make the water reflections look a little bit more different than the actual object. Okay, and then when you're drying trees, you want to make sure the leaves are fatter than the trunk itself, or it's gonna look heckin' weird and doesn't look like a tree. We can make the tree roots a little bit more wobbly, so it feels sort of like those whatchamacallit, those grotto trees. And we'll also lighten up this section a little bit, like there's like a little mist or something. Yeah. We don't want that. Here. Oops, I don't want that. Yeah, we're just gonna lighten up just a tad bit for a little bit of mist, and we'll break up the shape a little bit. Do you see how this irregular shape makes it feel a little bit more movement? And you'll also want to break up the shape of the trees here a little bit. And instead of maybe this wall, maybe we'll do a rock. So it makes sense that it's just next to a lake or something. I don't know. Just add a little bit of wobble to the water. Do it with that information as you will. Maybe make this rock a little bit more sticky outy. And let's start breaking up the shape of this rock a little bit, give it some edges. And just like any other object, this rock has a light and dark side. Of course. And honestly, I feel like, yeah, if you have her barefoot, it would make a lot more sense for her to be in nature rather than wearing boots, because the boots feels a little bit out of place. So let's just real quick dunk her tootsies. then you can break up, I don't know, break up the shape of the reflection even more with some ripples. And I hate to say it, but her thighs ain't thick enough. Especially when you're sitting down, like it smushes your quads all out, splays it out. So it needs to go create this kind of V shape. And again, we want a good balance on both sides, so V shape right here. We do have to do a little bit of liquefy real quick. Her head is a little bit small, especially since you do like to do that sort of anime style, Jessie. So when you have the head so small, it doesn't feel very much like that whole anime. So we're just gonna make it a little bit bigger, just teensy wantsy. Super subtle. See that? So she feels a lot more very cutesy, childlike, versus the other one's very realistic. I would even suggest you bust out her cheek a little bit. Ah, wrong one, oh, wrong one. Yeah, like you didn't even realize her head looked so small before. It's until I showed you and you're like, Dad, god damn, what was I thinking? I feel like you also have a fatal case of giving all your characters flat hair syndrome, so please, they're begging you, give them a little volume. Give them a little Pantene leave-in conditioner. And really, to drive in your contrasts, we're gonna use like a pure white. Well, someone has to. No, I'm just kidding. It takes time to be able to recognize your mistakes instinctually, so that's why you kind of want to write down a check mark or checklist of things you want to keep in mind when you're working. And to make her even feel cutesier, we're gonna shrink her shoulders just a tad bit. The more like small her torso frame. Oh, good for your girlfriend. Your girlfriend's doing God's work right here. I appreciate what she's doing when I'm not there. To nag you. Where's that pure white I need? Highlight, highlight, highlight. Just a tad bit right there. Okay, let's real quick fix up her legs just a tad bit, because I'm a girl and I can say 100% my legs don't work like that. It doesn't overlap that much, so be careful about that. Make sure they're like side by side. If they overlap, they don't, the knee would have to be a lot more overlapped on top of here instead of just being here. Okay, my keeper was going haywire. Alright, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna cover up this leg right here with the rock, and we're gonna draw it on a different layer because I want to experiment with different poses for the feet so we don't feel constrained to just doing one pose. You don't know women anatomy. That is fatal, fatal, fatal. Women anatomy is apparently the easier of the two anatomies to learn, so don't even think about jumping into male anatomy yet, okay? I don't know, maybe you could put some kind of grass here. I don't know, some shit like that. I am not a rock expert, but I feel like that's a decent looking rock, right? We'll just call it a decent looking rock, okay. Oh Lord. Is my IG gonna get banned because of all of you guys? I feel like my account is transitioning to all the controversial shit. Now, one option is we can have two Tootsies, dip it in the water. One's a little bit more along like this. Right, we can have one like this, or other option. If you really do feel compelled, we can have her kind of bending her legs out. This is the fucking weirdest pose I've ever seen. Okay. I can do anatomy. I can do anatomy. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. Okay, so we gotta bring up her leg here a little bit, so we have space to actually bend the leg. How do we do this without having to entirely refix this? Okay. the skirt. So I'm gonna try to get that in there right now. So let's first follow the folds right here. Right there, so follows around her thigh. And then it's gonna come back around to the other side. Instead of the log. I mean, I guess it could be the log, but your log was just too much log. Like if you were going to do a log, I would suggest you could have this still be that part of the log, but you need to add some branches or something to break up the shape, because it was just way too boring being just that single block. Because to me it looked very much like a bench, which felt out of place, especially in a kind of a lake scene with forest and stuff. Like, you could do it like this instead. Like, you're not limited to just doing the rock. But rock would look like this, log would look like this instead. Like, you can choose, you can make your, think about it a little bit more and experiment a little bit more. The rock will let you have a little bit more opportunities to play with the light, because you have more areas where light can leak through, whereas the log, you would have more of a controlled area that has that brighter section. Let's use a highlighter. Where you would have a very defined section of light versus, say, this one, maybe you have some more scattering of light based on where the rocks would be and the trees. It takes experience, lots and lots of practice. So like, I've had chances to kind of look at lots of different art, lots of different reference images. Like, just, you don't have to be like an artist. You can just, whenever you take a hike or when you go biking, Jesse, a leisure bike, not a I'm on my, I gotta hustle, I gotta beat my personal record kind of bike ride. You can take a look at your surroundings, think about like, oh, what is the light doing to this area? Or like, wow, look at the composition of this thing, or whatever. That's one way to train your eye without having to like purposefully go to like an art museum or like get like those art books. Those things do help, because it helps you kind of focus on like a specific thing to look for. But if you don't have time, honestly, you can just look around. Nature is like really good with composition and stuff. All right, so we threw some light areas in there, and then back to our skirt. Thick thighs save lives. I'm gonna throw that shadow in here. And then the pleat would honestly follow the structure of the wrinkle that we have on the skirt. So there might be a wrinkle right here. So we're gonna have it wrap around there. And because it's pleated, some of the pleats might be sticking out a little bit more. And if you don't feel like you want to color this, honestly, you could keep it black and white and just play around, practice your line work. So some edges or some corners might get a little bit more thicker lines in order to imply a shadow. So if your girlfriend is rushing you to finish this, just tell her, I am working in black and white for this month in honor of Inktober. So even then, look, the skirt looks really good even without any color. And I feel like it's better to get a really good foundation with the line work. You can also blame me or like use me as an excuse, say that I told you no color for this piece. Because I think it's a good opportunity for you to practice or like explore a little bit in the black and white world and get your values down really well before you move on to color, because color is a whole other beast of itself. Alright, and then we're just going to maybe change the darkness of the shirt so it's not the same as the skirt. I'm gonna make it just a tad bit darker because we need the contrast, Jessie. Where's your contrast? Oh my god, I am not on the right layer. Ha 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 ha. Okay. Duplicate this. Okay, we're just making it a tiny bit darker, so the skirt feels like it's a separate object. Now, if she has boobs, she's going to cast a little bit of shadow here. Even though her sweater is like baggy, it's still going to protrude a little bit. Maybe not as much, but it still will. Okay. Let's finish up the bagginess of the sleeves. Make sure we want lantern sleeves. Really flat sleeves make for boring silhouettes. And then I believe I wanted to bring out this cheek a little bit and the chin. I'm just gonna scoot down the nose a little bit and the mouth, so she definitely has that cutesy vibe a little bit more. See this just the difference real quick. Scooting down the nose. Cute AF, exactly, Jessie. So we want it for you. We want to see the anime. Don't be afraid to break up her bangs a little bit, because I definitely think that when you have too harsh of a bang, it looks very much like those fashion models rather than like anime, like Japanese schoolgirl bang style. Or it just might be my personal preference, but I hate it when the bangs are too thick, especially since I have like a really short forehead. It doesn't look good on me, it doesn't look good on anyone. Make her ears just a little bit bigger, again to play around with the whole cutesy vibe. Okay, and then we have a very good start. If you wanted to, you could potentially, we might even bring this down a little bit lower. And then you could add a little river in the back right here. And break up the tree shape so it looks like it has their own little island. Or some shit like that, I don't know. Might look nice. You could then add a little sparkles, oh my god. Work with me. Work with me. I hate this brush. I hate this brush. This is not it. Is this the brush I want? No, this one. Oops. Let's see, and then we add some spots that are really bright. Oops. We're gonna make your background look like it's glowing in comparison to your character, so it really captures that afternoon summer glow. And I'm just gonna do one last thing with your rocks. It's to give it a little bit more lighting. I feel like I kind of neglected it a little bit. And pretty low contrast for the trees back here, but still just a little bit, so they have more shape. If you wanted, we could, I don't know, throw in a butterfly here or there. Ah. Maybe not the butterfly. I feel like the butterfly is too cheesy. But you could do something. Last thing here. Little cheatsy guide if you really don't have anything. To guide the eye, we're gonna add just a tiny bit of light. A baby dragon, do whatever you want, Jesse. Honestly, it's your picture. Yeah, you could add just a little bit of light like this. Or not, it's up to you. But just those are some basic improvements. So color-wise, I would probably aim for... let's try to see. Almost a yellowy tone. So let me look up real quick some pictures. Let's... Let's make it match my screen size. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I don't know how it got muted, but anyway, I was just saying it takes me a spin and a half sometimes to figure out colors because I'm incompetent. Anyway, so I was when did you stop hearing me? Because I was showing this one. I hope you at least figured out, like, I was talking about using this kind of color palette to get that vibe for the summertime, afternoon lake vibes. So I've just been trying to apply it properly to yours because we can't just, you know, slap it directly word for what it is. You gotta do a little bit of shenanigans so it fits your lighting source. I was heavy in thought. Bro, when have I ever been heavy in thought? You can't see my mouth moving. Yeah, I'm just a tiny little figure on your screen. Anyway, let's get those spicy cool tones for your rocks. And then we'll use a little bit of this orangey tone for some of the shadows here. Anyway, what we're doing is we're using this blue-green color for your shadows and more yellowy orangey colors for your lights. So if that hasn't been obvious by now, I hope it's obvious now. Alright, let's throw in some fancy lights. I don't know, it doesn't make too much sense, but maybe there's a tree somewhere, I don't know. Maybe you decided you want to put a tree right here. We'll put a tree right here, like I said, tree right here. It could be just like a little branch with some leaves. It doesn't have to be like too much, but we want to make the lighting make sense. So we're gonna force there to be some kind of shadow area right here. Shum 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 shum. All right, so colors right there, maybe something like that, and I'm just gonna pop in some bits of pinks because we're wholeheartedly missing some pinks in here, so maybe there's some flowers or something, I don't know. Shum 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 shum. I have a flower brush. Trust me, I have a flower brush. I spent $5 to get it. We love that pink exactamento. Okay, and then to further throw in the pink, because we haven't had enough of it, we're gonna make some of the bounce light here pinkish orangey color. Wow, wase. Oh, god damn, look at that lighting. Woohoo. Okay, so we're gonna warm up some of this back here, just a tad bit. We're gonna use a little bit more colors besides just blue-green, cause screw that mess. We don't deal with it, schnaggles. So in our darker shadows, like the darkest shadows, we'll use this blue color. We'll be careful with it. We're not gonna use too much. We're gonna be careful. How do I get this without messing up all the colors? Woo-wee! Welcome, welcome! We're playing around with colors because Jesse has only done the black and white version and I want to give him an idea of which direction to go. And we have been referencing this one. I don't know which artist this is, but god damn if it belongs in my it actually smacks yo folder. This one is such a beautiful composition, like the colors versus this one. So for this one, we are basically telling him how to move on from this stage and planning towards this one. So just getting ideas of how to quickly map out colors without having to commit too hard. Yeah, maybe that's too orangey. I'm gonna make it more yellowy. I don't know, maybe we'll throw some more blues in here and there. Sometimes it just feels right to have a little bit of blue, it doesn't have to be perfect. I don't know, maybe I'm regretting this decision right here, and I'm gonna say no bueno to that one. Yeah, we're gonna get rid of it because I don't fucking want that there anymore. So cover this shit up. At this point, Jesse, this is very experimental, so this is overlight layer, but obviously if you wanted a little bit more saturation, you could throw this into hard light layer and get a really saturated version of all the colors that I've just been messing around with. Because this is the main color, and you can tell that it works because it feels very it's very summery colors, right? So mostly greens and blues. This is like a very desaturated version of the green. Yellowy oranges. I don't push past here for the skin tone because you want to keep that yellowy vibe, so yellows. We can do hard light, honestly, because the overlay is not quite saturated enough for my taste, but personal preference, it's up to you. But I think I'll probably think that might be good. Let's throw a little bit of warm light up here, just a tad bit. Maybe that tree was what we needed, but it's just the wrong shade. And we needed it in, like, I don't know, a little bit of light or something. I don't know what the shit I'm doing. You'll probably want to go darker just a little bit. Some kind of mess right there. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, hopefully that was helpful, Jesse, for understanding where to go for the colors. Let me group that so you don't get confused. Colors. Yeah, and then let's look at it a real quick before to center and the boots. I'm just questioning the whole decision. Why is she wearing boots in a lake? She's asking for trouble. She's asking for her boots to be filled with water versus she's taking a little dip. Okay, so I'll save that for the PSD and then I'll finish up with Bisu's. He's not here, but maybe you'll have something to learn from it. She's been asking me to talk a little bit about like how to instinctually know how to sketch the pose without having to do all these structures, but he's been starting with the structures. And what I have to say, Bisu, when you are starting with like the structures, it's good practice for understanding the underlying shapes, because when you do go to painting or like shading it, it's very important to understand how to simplify that shape in your mind. So let's see. Okay, we can read. First, I suppose. Okay. Yeah, so it's a good start for understanding like, okay, what shapes makes up in here, and then you freehand that. That also works. I would even suggest you for like an additional practice, you like get rid of this over here and then try your best to map it out using, I guess the freehand is technically that, but then you have to go back and kind of compare. So if you can't see it, we're gonna have to get rid of the image. And now you can really see like whether or not your sketch is there or not. And you'll see her arm right here, correct? Is a little bit closer to the head. So you would have to, for your fix, understand from now on when you are looking at the image, learn how to gauge these. Like, so what am I referencing? How do I reference like whether it's in the right place? So this head is lined up with the body. This shoulder lines up with the body. The leg right here creates a 45-degree angle across the body like this. And this leg is parallel to that leg. So those are all sorts of ways you can kind of create a reference point for yourself to sketch freehand without without like any kind of guidelines. And you're like, oh, what the fuck am I supposed to like measure from? Like, it's so hard. Like, yeah, I get it. So you have to really pay attention. Try to find like as many straight lines or like as many big line structures through the figure before you start, so that way you have an idea of where to go from there. So I would even go as far as to say, hide that. Number one, when you're sketching, understand, okay, what is the basic form? We're going this way, this way, this way, this way. Okay, so that means all those structures should line up along that line. So when we start, we're going to draw our head first. So we're going to pretend we're going to simplify with a circle first. Okay, we're going to draw the arm because the arm is the closest to the head. If you don't draw things close, like you don't draw your things relative to each other, you're going to get really confused real fast. So don't suddenly start drawing the leg right here, because how the hell are you supposed to measure the distance from the head to the leg in comparison to the picture, correct? Closest thing is the arm right here. So we can use your pencil. Screen on me. So you're gonna use your pencil. You're gonna be like, okay, what angle is this one? And then you're gonna bring it back over to your paper. You can use your other finger to measure and then draw it down on traditional paper. Same for this one. We're gonna say this angle right here, right? So I'm using my finger right now. Measure the angle, bring it back over. Her arm sits like that. So that's how we measured that one. Same for this one. We're gonna start there. Break it down into shapes. So her shoulder, ball socket, so circle. And we're gonna see there's an angle right here along the head to the shoulder. So use your finger and measure that. So that means I need to squish the shoulder in a little bit more. Same again with this angle right here. So drawing the human body is all about understanding, can you measure an angle properly? And that way, once you measure that angle properly, you can basically draw the body relatively proportional without worrying too much. So same angle, same angle. Hand lines up with the top of the head. So we're not going to worry about the hand just yet. We'll draw our cylinder. And I'm just basically doing the same thing that you're doing, but I'm taking into account in a little bit more measuring, so that way it's easier for you to measure later on. So her other hand sits right here on the wrist, right? Head right here, this angle right here. Okay, so this is that angle for the body. Use your pencil, measure it over. And if it helps, you can always figure out how tilted the angle of the body is when you're drawing that instead, so you can draw it like this. Then we have the hip right next to the body, the torso right here. We're not going to draw it too far. And now we're going to try to visualize this structure right here. So we're going to draw ourselves a bikini bottom right here. This is where our two femurs, our two legs need to be. So one's right here, one's right here, correct? We're going to draw the angle. Measure. Use your finger, if anything, measure. And then how do we figure out how long to make that leg? We're going to use your finger. So in comparison to the body, it's about basically the size of her body. A little bit longer maybe. So this length right here is about this length right here. So using this length right here, we're going to take our finger, measure, use the same distance from your eye to the paper. We're going to say it's going to stop right here. Same angle, circle. Same for this one. Where does this knee go? So start from here, curve. There's an angle this way, so goes this way, goes this way. So we have our knee right here. So it's going to overlap, curve. Find this angle right here first. It's easier for you to put the leg. And in comparison, right here, find that other angle. And then we connect. We can push it up a little bit because when you raise your leg up, your knee's gonna go higher than the leg. I'm not worrying about all the little what's it, calf muscles or anything. We're just gonna treat this as a cylinder for now. I'm not worrying about the groin, the butt, anything. We're just gonna simplify the shape right now, make your life easy. Follows the same angle right here. We're halfway on her thigh. Her feet ends there. Then you're gonna see her shoulder seems to sit right here. So follows that angle right here. Angle right here. Finish up the arm. And we're gonna clean up our lines now. And because right here, it's a little more gap, so I'm gonna give it a little bit more gap. Give her a butt. Give her a groin, bikini area. Let's go. Okay. Now That would be like your super duper basic, just drawing shapes. And not worrying too much just yet about the nuance of drawing muscles, because muscles are way more flexible, way more bouncy, way more juicy than it is with the shapes. So cylinder right here, cylinder right here. It's really straight so far. All of our muscles are really straight. So we start there. So let's see how we did for yours. See slight differences in the pose because I measured a little bit more. It feels like it's a little bit more dynamic. So that's how you want to go about when you are drawing those sketches. And then let's see what else you have for your explanation. Reference, rough. I do think that you starting with like those basic shapes is helping you get the angles a little bit better though. Like you're capturing the shoulder width better. But only issues we have are still the whole flexibility of some of those overlapping shapes. So I know it's hard to visualize it like this. Like, how do we visualize overlapping shapes? Let's hide those. If you have one of those like wooden mannequin dummies, it can definitely be super duper helpful in terms of helping you visualize it. Because this cylinder needs to sit way in there. Yeah. D&D sesh, have a good session. Hopefully you go far in your campaign or whatever. Alright, bye-bye, Jesse. Anyway, if you have one of those wooden mannequin dolls, it would be very helpful for you to visualize how this would overlap. So let's use a different color. This one right here. Make sure you follow that same oval shape. If it's not the same oval shape, you're not overlapping it properly. So it should be a little bit fatter for an oval shape. Oval shape. That would be how you overlap the shapes, okay? That way when you see your final right here, instead you get more of that overlapping shape. So see how it basically looks like an L shape? Ooh, let's use a different color. This silhouette right here, really sharp turn. That's what you were missing. Same for right here. Basically, the arm is touching the side of the body, so this part should be higher up. And then you have that overlap right there. And because the body is curved, we don't have straight lines here. It's going to be a curve. It's going to wrap around her body. Okay, make sure this is round oval, just like how we did here, round oval. Don't worry too much about the clothing folds. Ignore them when you are practicing drawing, okay? Just do the basic shapes, the edges and everything. So this right here we can keep, but I'm going to get rid of your other wrinkles because we don't need them. And the knee actually would protrude out more this way. Because if you've ever seen a leg, this part of the knee pokes out. Okay, so this one, just like how you did on this side, needs to poke out a little bit more. If you can't recognize it, it should look like this. That S shape. S shape. And then in terms of size of the feet, use some reference points. So the size of your fist is about the size of the feet. So we're just look at how big your fist is. We're gonna make your feet just a tad bit smaller. And when you are practicing these sketches or for like posing, then we really don't want to have to also focus on, say, drawing feet anatomy, because I feel like that's like two different monsters on its own right. So choose one thing to focus at a time, Misu. I don't want you to get too discouraged when you have to focus on like too many things at the same time. Alright, and because the boobs point out this way, when we are looking at it from upwards, we don't have any boob spillage unless like you have a big honker bachonkers. So unless the boobs are like this big, okay, unless they're this big, like anime water balloons, they don't poke out. They would follow the shape of the body. So let's keep trekking along, see what your other explanations are. After recreating the painting style, I just lower the opacity and draw the final figure. I think this one looks pretty good. In terms of angles, yeah, looks pretty good. But in terms of stiffness, things that we do want to keep in mind when we're doing the final is we want to make sure that we smooth out some of those curves. The body is a very smooth, very fluid object. So sharp angles make the body look very stiff. So smooth that curve out. You can exaggerate curves, remember, in our video. Don't be afraid, exaggerate the curve of a limb. And make sure the calf back here is a little bit bigger. Just a little bit. I'd also say at this angle, it'd be this part that protrudes out wouldn't be that defined. So be careful, okay? And then the feet, again, cut them off. We don't need to see the feet just yet. They're also going to be at a this angle, because we're looking at the figure from like worm's eye view. Right, so we're not going to worry too much about it. This is going to be all in shadow. Okay, so the feet would be like this. I think your hand is mwah, chef's kiss, bro. This one could use a little bit of work. The fingers. A little bit better. Okay. Same for shirt folds. Don't neglect them. They will still follow. They'll stick out because they're 3D shape. And since this is the breasts, they would be protruding out just a little bit, so there's shadow. Don't forget, again, round, round, everything straight line here, round, round. Okay? Same for this, round. Body is super duper round and flexy. Don't ever make it too many straight lines or it doesn't feel like the body, it feels like a robot. Okay? So super subtle changes to make the body feel a little bit more flexible. Do you see how just adding slight curves makes your body look a lot better? Roughs and finals. I think your roughs are really good in terms of for shading, but in terms of for sketching really quick, it's going to bog you down really fast. It's better to kind of try the skeleton method. The skeleton method is much faster in terms of capturing the angle and the movement. And then you wouldn't necessarily use the skeleton method if you want to understand the form of the body, because it's not going to tell you the form, it's just going to tell you real quick the angle of the body. Say like, let's take a look at let's do a skeleton of this one right here. You would go capture the hips, and the feet real quick, and you get a very fluid feeling of the body, but it doesn't tell you how the muscles would work, right? So you would definitely have to understand already what the muscles are in order to draw it. But I find it very helpful in terms of if you're just trying to practice sketching and you already see like what the muscle is doing, then this is really good for you to learn how to capture movement really fast. This one right here, I feel like the gun could be even further exaggerated. One thing that's wrong with this hand is that it should be following this perspective, because your arm is pointing this way, so your thumb should be following the arm instead. So instead, maybe the gun would be right here. Okay, really janky ass gun, but that would be the ankle instead. Does that make sense? And then main Ichigo, haha. Here's where I'm stuck. I did the paint over. Exact type of pose and type of clothing. Doing my best every day because right now the pose. Subject to change anyways. If I try to turn this into Makima, yeah, tips and change clothes if I do not have any reference. So one thing that even if you don't have the exact clothing in that pose, if you understand the type of clothing, you can get some pretty good reference images for how the clothing behaves when it wrinkles or when it reacts to light. So if you are going to turn it into Makima, she wears a formal t-shirt, not formal t-shirt, a formal dress shirt, and those tend to wrinkle pretty easily. So let's do some quick image search of some dress shirts. Okay, I saved a couple of them. A lot of dress shirts in here because I also love drawing dress shirts, but I'm horrible at wrinkles still. Okay, so dress shirt, Dress shirt, dress shirt. A lot of dress shirts. I like to say a lot of them, as I've mentioned. Maybe you might like this one. I feel like for the mommy vibes. Big V shape. So you'll see that wrinkles right here. Dress shirts wrinkle a shit ton, okay? So especially where your pants tucked in there, it's gonna get a lot of wrinkles. Right here where the arm meets the armpit, lots of wrinkles. This guy's like flexing his back, that's why he has extra wrinkles, but right here is a little bit less wrinkle version, but right here, the straight parts would be the chest, but everything else right here is wrinkled because it's falling off of her chest. Right here gets wrinkled because it's kind of draping. Same for here, draping underneath right here. So if you have, say, her in this pose, what you can imagine the shirt doing is this whole section right here. This whole section right here is gonna get a wrinkle. Wrinkles, lots of wrinkles going this way. Going out this way, going in this way. You might have a little bit of stretch going this way because her back is like kind of arching a little bit. Then for sure her arm pushing out here, right here, is going to have wrinkles wrapping around the arm. Wrapping around the arm like this. Some draping like this. Okay, so I didn't have to use a super, didn't have to technically have a super reference pose for that shirt, but you can sort of understand what it might do. So right here, we might get some wrinkles because this arm is kind of stretching the shirt open a little bit. So start with the shirt first and then apply the wrinkles and then worry about the lighting after, okay? I usually, before I start a piece of work, I want to have a general idea of what vibe, what tone. Is it going to be more naturey? Is it going to be more architectural, more daily life kind of piece before I start drawing final stuff? So sketching, thumbnails is when I start exploring like what kind of setting am I going to do it, put my character in. Am I going to do it flat color background, like make it super flat and have the focus be purely on Makima or whatever? Or am I going to try to have Makima interact with the environment, have a little story? So in this pose, you have an opportunity to have Makima sitting on a throne of skulls or of prisoners from the anime / manga. You can have her sitting on top of Denji, who's being her dog. Who's in an office, or you can have it in a not office setting. You can have it in a more abstract setting where it's like a black room with some, I don't know, some floating steps, or you could have chains. Those are all options to think about when you are working. Body can't be seen. Yeah, so this really comes into play. I feel like so you have to understand your anatomy a little bit just so you can finish off the body parts. So the body part that's cut off is her leg. Where did I put stuff? Okay, so her leg right here, it will follow the same direction. Her foot was going to follow the same direction as her leg. So we're going to expand this baby a little bit so we have enough space to do what we need to do. Okay, so we have her leg coming out this way. Knee. Okay, so her calf is going to be tucked in a little bit. Then her foot, her ankle is going to be on top. Her foot is probably doing something like that versus, say, this one. Okay, so her leg would probably be like this, tucked in a little bit. Ankle right there. Should you put her in a box? If you would like to be super duper accurate like Greta, or be psycho like Greta, for sure you can draw a 3 box to put her in, but I don't work that way. My brain doesn't work that way. Makes it very hard for me to visualize the POV. So like, I'm assuming the POV is something like this. Let me put this on a different layer. The POV is, here's the wall. So I'm guessing the POV is probably something like this. Even then, I don't think I'm like super duper accurate. So it's very hard for you to be able to draw the POV instantly like this, unless you've had like a lot of practice, or like you're a perspective master. I would instead suggest you find just the main horizon line, which would be right here, and figure out the floor. If you can figure out the floor, then even without the box, it's helpful enough for you to draw the background, because then you can draw everything from that POV. So vanishing point somewhere maybe really far back here. Yeah, maybe something like that, really far away. So anything that you draw, if you draw a Denji sitting here, start with basic shape. So his head is right here. Harf. Okay, then you already give yourself a little bit more like idea of the perspective of the whole situation, and you didn't really need to draw like all these lines just yet, right? Though it definitely does help. I would also suggest, because the reason you were having trouble with the eyes is because I feel like you have a little too zoomed in syndrome sometimes. So you focus mostly on the eyes, when in reality you need to focus on like the whole face itself. That way when you draw the eyes, it doesn't feel like it's an isolated object and it won't look weird on the face. So when you do have those guidelines right here, wraps around, okay, the only main concern you should have is making sure these inner corners line up, outer corners line up. Then you can exaggerate a little bit, keep it still semi-zoomed out. Let me hide this eye here a little bit. Okay, so long as you have the nose right here, line up, line up. Line up the outer corners, okay? Half circles, if you see what shape that her irises are. Half circles. Then we leave a little bit of space for the whites of the eyes. You don't have to do too much. She has hooded eyes, so that's why she's gonna get a little bit of eyelid popping out there. And there. You got yourself some eyes. They're not like exactly her eyes, but we do have eyes. You can scoot this over a little bit because her eyes are a lot bigger right here. There. And you got yourself some eyes. So focus on big picture. So line up features. Look at how the relative distance from the edge of the face, distance from the eyebrow. Don't let just the shape of the eyes kind of bog you down on all the details, okay? But otherwise, I think you've got a pretty good measuring for the pose right here. Okay, and then just going back to real quick to like the whole mind map thing. I don't always plan out every single decision I do when I'm painting. Sometimes I figure out the background after I finish painting, but you do want to have a good bit done before you move on, just so you have you don't make stupid mistakes like, oh, maybe you change your mind and you wanted like the environment to be really fully fleshed out, then maybe the lighting that you did for the characters no longer makes sense and then you have to start over again or whatever. And then back to the clothing thing. Honestly, I would suggest you just to really understand the type of clothing that you're painting. If you don't, it's very hard for you to try to paint the clothing in any other angle other than the original reference photo. You could always, if you have the type of clothing, you could take a picture of yourself wearing it. Like, I'm pretty sure you have a dress shirt, Misu, so you could wear a dress shirt and then put it on, take a picture from a top-down angle, and try to simulate the lighting that you want. Even if it doesn't have the lighting that you want perfectly, it'll still give you a good enough approximation. It'll give you the folds, and if you know a little bit about like just basic shading, you'll understand like, okay, where do I put my shadows, where am I going to put my lights, and that kind of thing. And so hopefully that was helpful for the critique session. I am currently working on our monthly challenge. I'm almost done. I am like working on the final piece for it, just doing some quick mapping out of values. So hopefully that will be done by this next week. Depends on how busy I am this weekend. Let me give you a little bit more preview for those who have bothered to stay tuned to all 3 hours of this. You can check out this cute animals. Okay, no more. Anyway, I will be saving all of these PSDs and then sending it to you guys via Discord. And then if you have any issues opening it, contact me. But otherwise, I will probably go and rest my voice a little bit. Okay? Bye bye!